Councilmember Khamis.
Thank you, Mayor. And I tell you, I consider myself a park advocate. I believe wholeheartedly that parks are a core service to the city and that well-deserving of general fund revenues that they currently get, and even more, especially to maintain the parks we already have. And I'm in agreement with the plan outlook, and I agree with a couple parts of the memo of the mayor, but polls do cost money. How much does a poll cost? A citywide poll? Angel.
Yeah. A poll can run anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000. Done by a reputable pollster, and that's reliable.
And that's I don't. The reason I wrote this memo, one, is that I don't believe we could tax ourselves out of the financial situation that we're in. Number two, I don't think that we should be throwing away money on knowing what people want and then having the circumstances change and then doing another poll and costing another $75,000 after the federal government makes its decision. And I have to say, in the last 3 years, alone, the city of San Jose has passed a library parcel tax, a sales tax, a business tax, and not to mention all the other municipalities raising their own taxes, such as the VTA sales tax, the county parcel tax for housing, the state gas tax, and the SB1, which is also a DMV fee as well, a tax, the Clean Bay tax, the Open Space Authority tax, and numerous taxes from school districts. 3 in my district alone, school district bonds. They're called bonds, but they're actually parcel taxes that affected my district, and that was just in the last year. So for me, it's not a mystery why people find it too expensive to live here. All these taxes actually make it harder for our kids, our young adults who graduate college but can't afford to buy or rent because taxes get passed on to the renters. Seniors, taxes make it harder for seniors to stay in their homes and for immigrants to try to afford the American dream. I think we need, in my memo, I wanted to focus on looking at other ways to make sure that the department gets the needed revenues it desperately needs. And I think we need to look at inwardly. I asked staff to actually look at some of the causes of some of our budgetary constraints. Because last year, the two taxes put together, the sales tax and the business taxes, estimated revenues were to be $52 million. And if you could, does staff have the slide from staff that came to me a few hours ago? To put up on the screen. Basically, I asked staff to look at just how much in fiscal year 2016-2017 did the cost of our pensions rise, just our pensions. And I'm sorry, that's the tax one. Is the pension one up? This is a spreadsheet of all the taxes that passed in the last 2 years. And then we also have what staff gave me. It actually cost an increase of $56 million. That's not it either. $56 million increase just in last year, just in pension costs alone, coming from our general fund. 56 million. And again, what we netted from the two taxes was 52. So to me, we are still not addressing the giant elephant in the room. So even if we passed a tax, even if we passed a new tax for parks, as Mayor Liccardo once said in the last 2 times we passed taxes, that taxes are fungible. So even if it's a dedicated tax one could potentially may assume that even though that they're going to get that dedicated tax, pieces of the general fund that normally go to parks may not be there the next year. So this is why in my memo I described many other things that we could do to try to look at ways to increase the revenues for our Parks Department. And truly help. Another thing that I'm concerned about is, since you've already done a poll, I didn't realize that we authorized a poll, but since you've already done one, and you said you came in at 65%, right?
63 on the high end.
Okay, 63 on the high end. Pollsters would tell you that it's a plus minus 5%, right?
Correct.
I've done many polls and I've looked at many of them. Mm-hmm. That's a miserable fail if it goes negative 5%. 63% at the high end is also a fail. And so putting something on the ballot is also expensive. So again, my concern here is that we don't spin our wheels on solutions that may not be viable. Mm-hmm. We may never pass a tax. Even if we put one on the ballot, it may fail, is what I'm trying to say. In the meantime, we still need money for your department. Mm-hmm. And we have to look for ways to fund your department, because I too am very concerned that you're underfunded. So we need to look at other departments, other ways to increase volunteerism, ways to automate some of the things like I've been preaching for years about scheduling, increasing revenue from automated scheduling of softball fields, and looking for other ways in other departments to reduce costs so that we can spend more money in the Parks Department. That's what my memo is all about, trying to find a solution other than taxation. And I'm hoping that my colleagues will understand. I truly admire the work that this department has done over the years, trying to increase the return in their own department, the revenues that are coming into their own department. Some of the various tasks that they've been undertaking, I think, are admirable. Viva Calle, the gang prevention, I think is fantastic what you guys do. And so I just think we need to look for real 100% guaranteed ways, not potential pie-in-the-sky ideas about passing new taxes. And so that's why I want to move my memo to look at more than just looking at taxes and postponing spending money on a poll until such time as Congress decides how screwed up we're going to get in the future, quite frankly. I don't know how we're going to get screwed up, but I have a feeling we are going to get screwed up. And it's better for us to know before we do a poll than after we do a poll, because people's minds can change after the what's said and done. And so I'll make a motion to move my memo, which actually includes item number 1 and number 2 from my colleagues Jimenez, Rocha's, and Mayor Licardo's memo.